Now it's time to get into the old trendline time machine, for which we still don't have a sound effect, unfortunately. But you have made a lot of predictions, forecasts for 2020, Nick, and I just want to take a peek back. So the big one, I think, was what you thought about the U.S. election.
Biden will win the popular vote. He hasn't had a major gaffe. He's had a stable advantage throughout the whole thing. So I think I'm pretty comfortable in predicting that he'll win the popular vote, assuming that all the votes are counted and mail votes count and are considered valid. But when it comes to the Electoral College, I would be very cautious because there are a number of battleground states that are a toss-up statistically from a polling perspective. And if they flip, then I would say all bets are off.
So I think a lot of people, Nick, saw Biden leading in the national polls. They didn't take your advice on to be wary of state polls, and then on election night, I think they were a little alarmed at how close it got. But for loyal Trendline listeners, I think we were a little less anxious about it, about trying to figure out what the heck was going on. So basically, I think you nailed it.
Thanks. Does that mean E for effort? Are you on the effort thing?
You get an official Stittle tip of the hat for 2020.
Okay, that's good.
There you go.
Thank you.
Well, let's move on to another prediction. You also, this is my personal favorite. I think leading into the Conservative Leadership Convention, the Conservatives were they ahead or behind 12 points?
They were trending up. Well, they were starting to trend up as a result of the leadership convention. A little bit.
And this is what you had to say.
Watch out for a recovery in consumer confidence after about another 90 days. And let's see whether the Conservative leadership race can generate some excitement, because the Conservatives it's like jumper cables. They need jumper cables on that party, because right now they're 12 points back. They need an exciting close in the leadership in order to engage Canadians and become more competitive with the Liberals.
Didn't exactly play out that way, Nick. We had that voting machine mistake. It was almost like a comedy of errors.
Yeah, and the thing is they did trend up to be statistically tied with the Liberals. And then it just basically all unwound as people were wondering what's going on. And right now we've had the Conservatives trend down at least for the last 4 to 5 weeks. So it's an important time for Aaron O'Toole to kind of what do we say? It's wintertime. Get those jumper cables back out, right? For the new year, right? Let's for him, he probably wants to put 2020 behind him. He wants to tick off the box like Aaron O'Toole won. Yes, he won, and then to have a strategy for 2021 and the potential election that could happen in 2021.
You've got some outstanding predictions. One of them is Green Party leader Annamie Paul. Let's listen to what you had to say about that.
Well, if you're looking at the political map of Canada and the polling and ridings that have the best opportunity for the Green Party of Canada, they would be in British Columbia. British Columbia, let's face it, if there's ever a green revolution, it's going to start in BC.
So you talked about the secret trend line, the hidden trend line of the environment, which is we think will come back in a big way in 2021. So do you stand by your prediction that Annamie Paul will potentially find success in BC and get elected?
Well, I still think the numbers do show that the British Columbia is probably the best province for the Greens. They already have a couple seats in British Columbia. You have to think of, especially on Vancouver Island, there are a couple ridings in Vancouver Island that the Greens just barely lost. And then they have that economy of scale and the clustering of ridings where they can bring resources to bear. So that would be the easiest, as opposed to cherry picking something where there's not a lot of green members of parliament or any green members of parliament. So I still think today, looking at the polling numbers, Annamie Paul would probably be best served by running in a riding in British Columbia, ideally close to the other the green ridings that they have there. And there are 2 or 3 that could easily flip into the green column if she has a good showing.